How can a dairy rely on less skilled labor? Is it possible to even eliminate some positions and to do so while actually improving cow care and milk quality? Not to mention your stress level as a dairy owner or manager? Well, we are going to one of the most notoriously challenging labor markets in the country to find out how one California dairyman is doing just that. This is the Up-Level Dairy Podcast for dairy farm owners, managers, and advisors who are committed to success, profitability, and sustainability. My name is Peggy Coffeen, and it's my mission to bring you the conversations that will up-level your skill set and your mindset so you can be a top performer in the dairy business. Our guest today is Brandon Mendonsa from Tipton, California, from FM Jerseys, the site he owns and manages that milks 3,200 cows. When this dairy was built 5 years ago, one of Brandon's priorities was to set up a system that would allow him to milk more cows with less skilled labor. This episode is brought to you by Affimilk. Affimilk is a global dairy technology company that designs herd management software and products that allow thousands of cows to be managed on an individual level. Affimilk can tell you what's happening with your cows and your milk, alerts you if there's a problem, and pinpoints the problem so it can be managed quicker and easier. Stick around to the end to hear a few words from Affimilk herd management specialist Amit Golan about working with Brandon and other dairies to save on labor and empower cow management. From the get-go, Brandon knew that his future in the dairy business depended on less reliance on people. That's why he turned to technology.
Sometimes it's just the hassle of having labor that drives the technology market.
That's also why, when they built FM Jerseys 5 years ago, they chose an 80-stall Madeira rotary, equipped with an Affimilk system that integrates activity, inline milk monitoring, body weight collection, and automated sort gates. Working in tandem, Brandon now has computers that do jobs that used to require a trained employee.
With the technology, it's allowed me to require less skilled labor. One of the ways to identify if a cow is sick is before you attach the milking machine. We check the cow before the machine is attached, and we look for stuff like mastitis, coli. That you're able to identify in the milk with the way it looks, the consistency of it, if maybe she's sick, if maybe she's having a problem. And before that was a job that someone was required to do, right? The guy who's going to put the machine on, he might have a guy in front of him who's checking, or maybe the same guy, depending on how fast you're trying to get the cow's milk. Well, now in this barn, I don't require that. Due to technology, I'm able to put the machine on. It takes a sample of her milk before it starts introducing the milk into the bulk tank. And if it notices that, hey, there's an inconsistency or the temperature's off or the consistency's off, it'll stop, pull the machine off, dump that milk. It has a backflush system, so it'll sanitize, and then it won't let you put that machine back on that cow until she's gone to the hospital, had somebody check her, whether it's the vet, whether it's your manager. More skilled labor would need to look into her. But even the computer, after it analyzes her milk sample, it will kind of tell you what is wrong. It will say she has E. coli mastitis, or she has just regular mastitis, or there was blood in her milk. So then it gives you a suggested protocol into how to treat her. So now I've taken people who would need to think about, well, did they just see? I got to eliminate that skilled part of my labor.
By the time the cow has made it around the rotary, her diagnosis, destination, and recommended protocol has been predetermined with no need for a person to direct her path.
And then when it goes around the carousel and then into the holding pen to wait to get in the hospital, get checked and diagnosed, the computers came up with a diagnosis. That diagnosis is based on things that we've told it, things that we've told the analyzer, hey, when you see this, it's that. When you see this, it's that. So the people who know cows programmed what we want to be done. And now the guy who handles that, he technically doesn't have to be that skilled either. Is that the computer says, hey, you're going to give her a tube, a mastitis tube, or hey, you're just going to pump more fluids into her and we'll check her tomorrow. And so that's been very nice that I don't require the skills out of hired help that I once did. So I don't quite need as much skilled labor.
Relying on a computer to call the shots has changed Brandon's job as a manager, and he says it's for the better.
Now, my job isn't to make sure that he's diagnosing right, isn't to make sure he's seeing the cow. It's to make sure he just gave whatever the diagnosis protocol was to that cow. So if it was the bottle, make sure he gave that bottle. If it was the tube, it was to make sure he gave that tube. And then what I like about it is it takes the blame off anybody else and puts it on myself. And that's because I've programmed the computer to do it the way I want. And if I find a flaw in the protocol, right, if I find that the cows aren't getting better, if I find the issues, well, essentially that should be my fault. If he's doing what the computer said, I've told the computer what to do, the computer told him what to do, and it does it consistently. He's not having to think about it. So if he tells me, hey, I did what it said, but these cows aren't getting better, well, then maybe there's a flaw in my diagnosis. Maybe there's a flaw in the computer system. Maybe I didn't enter something right. But I know now that I'm not going to be upset with him. The only way I get upset with him or her is that, hey, you didn't do that. Why didn't you do that? But as long as they're doing their job, the computer's telling them what to do. And I really enjoy that.
After all, resetting a computer is much easier than resetting a person.
How many times is it that holiday and you stayed up too late and now you're tired at work? So what are your diagnostic skills when your brain's running at 50%? My computer don't run at 50%. It runs 100% all the time. It doesn't get dropped. It doesn't take holidays off. It doesn't fight with its spouse. You know, it has very, very few hiccups. And when it does, it has 2 backups, you know, and that's just cheap insurance, right? When my main computer goes down, I flip a switch and blah, blah, blah. And now the second one's taking care of the load. Well, I get the first one fixed and we never missed a beat. It could be Christmas and maybe the computer needs to be reset. Resetting a computer is a lot easier than trying to reset somebody.
Add to that, Brandon says the way his computer system integrates milking data plus captures body weight through a scale at the parlor exit provides a high level of accuracy for detecting health concerns.
It will kind of analyze how much body weight she's lost in the last 3 days. It'll give you her 72-hour printout and it'll tell you like, hey, something's not good, her milk was fine, her body weight's way off, she's not eating. You know, check her for this. And usually within about 87 and 95% accuracy, the computer's right. You know, we just got to cover that fine detail. And sometimes chasing the fine details doesn't really pencil out to being the best. So, you know, if it says she's got a twisted stomach, we'll check her out. If she does, computer caught her, you know, win for the computer. And you can set the sensitivity to be higher, you know, so if you want to get more cows that are false positives, right, like it, you know, or if you want to get less cows, you know, take your chance at not catching enough. So we tend to err on the, you know, let's have too many that we didn't need, then start missing ones that we did need. So it's kind of how our system runs.
One of Brandon's greatest learning curves has been resetting his own mindset from managing and working cows by group to doing everything every day.
I do everything every day. And that concept is just not one that's easily accepted because it's like, oh my goodness, you know, if you're doing everything every day, that's got to take you so long. And it's like, no, because the sort gates only get the cows I need. I don't have to walk through all my cows every day looking for, you know, 5 cows here, 8 cows there. The cows come to me. The cows come to us through the sort gate and come to us. So I dry cows every day. I get my vaccinations every day. They're very consistent because it's, you know, day 28 for this, day 125 for that. So on that day is the day she gets picked. You know, again, we had that group mentality. It's like, okay, every Wednesday they're going to get vaccinated. No, over here, every day. And it keeps the flow of the carousel, the cows exiting very smooth. It keeps that line real flat, because if you were drying cows today, you're going to have a peak and then nothing. If you're breeding cows, or some type of shot or vaccinations on Tuesday, well, then it's going to take big chunks, and you might end up having to stop your rotary. Well, if you're having to stop milking cows, that way you can process your cows. That's going backwards. You definitely don't want to stop the rotary. The whole idea behind it is that you can milk so many cows an hour with so little labor. And so we found out through trial, hey, if you just do everything every day, even if the herd increases 500 cows, it's only like 20 extra cows a day that you're working with. It's nothing. And 20 cows over a 10-hour, 11-hour time span is nothing. So it's like everything every day. It's fine.
Parting ways with the group management mindset has also meant less lockup for cows and less needed labor to handle them.
You don't want the cows locked up for a bunch of time. And here, that's one of the other advantages is I have no stanchions, no headlocks. My cows, as I need them, they get separated, and all the ones I don't need, they just keep on going. They just go straight home. Ton of time, and a ton of men, because to work 3,200 cows, how many outside people would I need to help me work them every morning, to help me breed them every morning, to help me dry cows every morning? I mean, it'd be a fleet of people. I think it would take 3 to 4 more guys to accomplish all the work outside.
Brandon doesn't consider the technology he's using to be optional. Rather, he sees it as a critical component to the growth strategy for himself and his family's dairy farming business.
But I'm going to keep pushing as much as my mind can handle it. I will keep trying to think of new things and analyze data and see if we can't just keep improving, right? I mean, as a younger guy, I used to think, and I still believe it kind of true, but here, you either got to get bigger or you have to get better, right? Because if you're not doing either one, I don't want to say you're doomed, but you're in for a rough time. So we've grown. That's been our strategy, is to grow and grow and grow. So we've been getting bigger. And I think with the addition of this dairy, we are in the step forward to getting better. And with technology, though, you keep pushing the limits to needing less people.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from California dairyman Brandon Mendonsa from FM Jerseys. And on this Up-Level Dairy podcast, sponsored by Affy Milk, we have some bonus material for you with Amit Golan, who is herd management specialist, who actually worked closely with Brandon and his dairy for integrating the Affy Milk system into his parlor when they built that new setup 5 years ago. And so, Amit, welcome to the Up-Level Dairy podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we're excited to tap into your knowledge and your experience here, because one of the things that you really helped Brandon and his dairy do is take a good hard look at how they could use the Affy Milk integrated system to save on labor. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's a good question. So the setup that FM Jerseys has is a sort gate that's leading cows to be sorted right after they leave the rotary. That's the usual setup that is available anywhere usually. But what's unique about Brandon's or FM Jersey's setup is that at the sort gate, they have a computer, they have an Affy Milk computer with our program on it. And there's a technician there's one person there. Not an entire health team. It's just one person. And the system is telling that person exactly what this cow needs. So first of all, one thing that we do is we diagnose, or we can detect health issues for cows, and we can be specific. And that's very unique to Affy, or to Affy Milk. It's very unique because almost every other system out there can say, okay, a cow is sick, but is not specific to what that cow has. So it allows the farmer to use or to have a person that is not as high caliber as you would need, because that person doesn't need to diagnose. You take away the diagnosis from the equation, and you can make a very simple protocol for each one of those conditions They just see on the screen exactly what the cow has. They apply that protocol for that cow, saving on labor, saving on drugs, saving on stress for the cows. And it's a fantastic setup that Brandon has in his dairy.
There's a savings on stress to him as an owner and a manager of the dairy because, as you had just explained to me, he no longer has to have such a highly skilled person. And we all know that, hey, people are human, we make mistakes, and there's more accuracy in the system, in the integration of the Affimilk system and the algorithms that are there to identify those cows that are at risk or maybe need some extra attention. And he's able to rest easy knowing that that system is accurate and reliable, and then empowered to make these individual cow decisions as well. And so, what are some of the ways that he's able to use some of that individual cow data and make decisions on whether it's breeding, whether it's grouping and sorting, or any other types of herd management decisions?
So per animal, Affimilk is collecting milk data, and we collect about 100 to 150 data points per cow per session. That's a lot of information, and that allows us to detect mastitis in a very, very early ages or very early stages of the disease. We can find ketotic cows, which is a lot more difficult to find them without our equipment, or almost impossible. We can find fresh cows that are struggling, so we can detect ketosis cows, and other health issues that might arise. And the nice thing about it is that based on each individual animal's performance, we can detect sickness, but we can also, treat or address issues as they come. And the issues don't have to be health issues. We can have, for example, milking time. You can group the cows in milking time, per milking time, saving a lot of time on sessions because your fast milkers are milked together and the slow milkers are milked together. You can address sizes. You can address breeds. We can detect heat very accurately and tell the farmer when would be the best time to breed that animal. We can be very specific per animal, or we can look at the pen or the group and detect issues on the group level that sometimes might be very, very significant and can save the dairy a lot of money in the long run.
And so this fully integrated system, it really functions from a dashboard feature that allows that person that's managing the cows in a different way to be able to see what's going on and to make decisions. Tell us a little bit about how that dashboard function operates.
So we have a dashboard that allows the farmer to look at all the vital signs of the dairy and know exactly how he's doing on milk production, on health, on fertility, and per groups or on group level. But that's not everything. I mean, we have a lot of automation behind the scenes, allowing us to automatically sort cows. So no one really needs to sit down and monitor anything if they don't want to, which the way I see it, it's like an electronic chalking. We just paint the cow electronically. And it allows the cow to sort only when she needs to be sorted, allowing the farm to operate almost stress-free completely because you don't need to go to the corrals, you don't need to go to the headlocks, saving a lot of labor, a lot of time just trying to find these cows. The cows actually come to you when you desire her to come to you. And then another thing is that the reports, a lot of the reports are preset. You don't need to be an expert. They're just right there on the dashboard. You just click on them, they open. You don't need to be technologically savvy to know how to operate this. It's a very, very simple. And we have a fantastic application that comes with it, allowing you to and from anywhere. We have a complete suite of applications that are cloud-based. So from anywhere, the dairyman can log in and just monitor what's going on in his dairy, labor-wise, health-wise on the cows, production of milk, whatever they are actually wanting to see is available online.
When we look at something like activity monitoring that's been around for a while now and more commonly accepted, we can look at some of that data. But what you're talking about is looking at the next level, the next layer of what's possible and how cow health can really be improved through having some real-time data for decision making. And we put that up against the labor savings, and this is what this is what dairies like Brandon's are able to capitalize on and able to use to help them to continue to grow and get better every single day. And so, Amit, as we wrap up here, any last comments you'd like to share with our audience?
I can just tell you that if you're talking about next level, we are working on it's at the end of development on a product that would be able to predict what would a cow performance would be when we're looking at a cow at 40 or 50 days in milk. We would be able to tell you what would be her 305 days performance. And the prediction is so accurate right now that it's about 95% accurate. And to me, it's incredible because it's at the point where before you breed the cow and you can actually say, okay, she's not going to perform. I don't really need to invest. It's a huge money saving tool. And in general, it's incredible because we are the first ones to actually apply AI or apply any machine learning because this device is going to be based on a machine learning platform that will get better every year. Just learning the farm and providing a prediction of how this cow is going to perform at 305 days, very, very early on in her lactation.
Yeah. So some exciting opportunities ahead to see what is in store for being able to manage cows and manage data using more technology in the future. And for our listeners that want to know more about these things and continue to follow Affy Milk and the new technologies that are coming out, we'll include all of those details in our show notes. Thank you for listening to the Up Level Dairy Podcast. I'm your host, Peggy Coffeen. And if you like what you heard today, go ahead and head on over to upleveldairy.com to read the blog and join the Up Level Dairy email list so you can receive new podcasts, blogs, and special offers coming soon from Up Level Dairy straight in your inbox. To listen to more episodes, head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, and don't forget to rate and review. Connect with me, Peggy at upleveldairy.com, and follow Up Level Dairy on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.